this is the first docuseries in one that is about being fully committed to being real. So enjoy.
Okay, so you have just had an opportunity to see me be in the kitchen of Geordie's place while he worked on the newest Conestoga tiny home experience away from the continent of Rome within the ideations of society, because privately he is able to do what he wishes with his property and invite whom he wishes to share his company with to his land, because that is the benefit of being a landowner. And I shared too the loony bin video I recorded where I literally ran on a treadmill while delivering a message that I did very well. I give myself credit and do attribute it to the fact that the month before that, I had done yoga every single day because I lived right by Godo Yoga and I went every day pretty much. So yeah, I was in like the best shape of my life. And so there was maybe potentially a little element of me being a little nervous to actually like go all the way there again, given the experience of 4 years ago when I was locked up at this time and maneuvering a crazy, deceitful, manipulative system where everyone is an informant and the professionals are ultimately doing their job as the soul is robbed and the people with it are paying the ultimate price of giving up their power to something outside of themselves that is not nice, even the one that is willing to consent to be stolen from within a usurpatory system. Yeah, I know. It's a whole lot. And I've been told I'm a whole lot for my entire life. And now, I don't care so much because I realize the importance of what I've been doing this whole time, even if no one else or very few did see the value and importance of it. I did. And so I persisted, and now we have evidence of it, and I can reference that in the vlog series. I've got diary entries and proof of it because I posted them in real time. I am so proud of myself for having done the work. Over 1,000 videos on one channel platform alone. Yeah, I am excited to share what I've been piecing together for you this whole time without knowing how to actually like make the quilt. I was just making the pieces and didn't know where the pieces were going to go from a quilter's analogy, which my mom is a master quilter. So I don't mention my mom often because she gets pretty offended by my belief system around words and BS, which she says everyone says is bullshit. When I say, but I am repurposing that to say belief system when you're in my world and you're using the vernacular that I use. So I also challenge what bullshit is, but ultimately our belief systems around the things that are happening too. So what is truth? That's what we're finding out. So let's bring love back into the fray and let purification be the game. Let us come together and release the hostilities, anger, rage, resentment, and all of the ways that we would be taken out of the present moment so that the dead can bury the dead and we can actually let live that which is good and noble and see that evil is on the other side of the spectrum, literally frontwards, backwards. They balance one another out and cover the spectrum in between. If we stop trying to say we must check one box or the other when we are a combination of all, when we see that the fall was out of the heart and into the head,
And that was then when we started to use reason and science to define and describe our environment and trust sources, which then created counterfeit versions of all of these things, the trust of which it seems has equity within it that the Vatican have been holding for us as the vassal or holder of title within the counterfeit world that created counterfeit registered versions of us in paper form, which if we don't contest, then the contest was won before we even knew we were playing. So I'm going to go a lot deeper down some of these rabbit holes, but I wanted to give this intro to you as a summary of what is to come in the video you are about to see with, this is a bonus that you will hopefully be super grateful to me for, but no supplication, just gratitude is enough. I'm sharing with you Geordie Lishmn's perspective of German New Medicine. And he does such a fantastic job. I can't wait to hear back what it means to you, for you, what questions it arises within you, and then to be able to go deeper. If you've got questions for Geordie specifically, he's more inclined to actually do more interviews on a system that he's been studying for 15 years and has great connections within the community of too. So
pots and pans in the kitchen, making a racket, not being used, therefore still quiet, while I listen to Xenophon's memorabilia before O Economicus in a fantastic portrayal of the Greek warriors' perspective of Socrates and his lessons before he was sentenced to death 30 days after the sentence was given, at which point one asked him, should not you be preparing for your defense, given he was still cheerful? And Socrates said, I have been preparing my whole life. And then I saw the word defense as defense we sit on, as to whether we will move towards lies and evil, which is live backwards, in order to appease the minds of those small-minded men who wish to cause us harm, or whether we will live well and continue to stay in our power of present presence that Socrates mastered, for he learned to master himself and would not be swayed by those who wished to play with his emotions and have him run wild and loose and be reckless the way most are, and he did not. So I just thought it very poignant to mention defense as defense we sit on, and that being where we see the grass is always greener on the other side, if that is the side we water. So why not choose to water our own side of the fence and see that when we sit on that perch we have a higher vantage point sometimes, but what are we looking at? What are we paying mind to? And is that going to serve us or someone else? Hey, Lord J and Geordie Lishmn working away on the latest Conestoga. I'm a painting and I got some screws to let you chillax on the front porch before it was that with me while I tell you the fact that I have just had the most amazing revelation, and I am gonna say it while I do some painting. So this is where I'm going to be painting, and unfortunately the positioning means I can't actually take you on the journey fully with me the way that I intended to, for you to have it in view, because of my lack of a platform. And no, I do have a platform, or few in fact, actually. Facebook, I used to go live on all the time. YouTube, I've got over 1,000 videos on there. LinkedIn, I don't do lives there, but I do share my blogs, which is another platform on my website, ljeh.ca. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so today. It is the 27th of September, 2023. 4 years ago today, I got locked away because I made a crazy call in a manic phase I'd never experienced before, that I took too far. I own it. I got my hands stained, and I will proclaim that if I could do it again, I would not do what I did. My mom's favorite book was, as a kid, was the Berenstain Bears book on the bike lesson. And that is what you should not do. Now let that be a lesson to you. And I can't tell you how many times she actually used that line to something that I or someone else, my brother particularly, because it was the book she read to us both. Yeah, I can't even tell you how many times it was referenced, to the point where I actually referenced it in my book, Fully Committed, The Sacred Sojourn of Now, that was published last year after I finally got out of my own way and published it. I finally did it.
Noise.
4 years after I set out to do it, I finally did it. And in those 4 years, when I didn't do it or hadn't done it yet, I judged myself hard for it. Whoops. So, that's about as far as I can go without using that ladder that you were perched on. And so, I'm gonna go after I do this part, yo, and say that while I was working away on the part behind me that's already done, before I went into the house to get you. Not you who is watching this, but the conduit through which you receive this transmission. The phone, I mean, was what I had to grab in order to share this message with you, because that's who I'm talking to now, as I've done on all of these platforms. Since 2015, I started my YouTube channel. Before that for Facebook and LinkedIn, which I started in 2011 when I got certified as a John Maxwell team coach, teacher, speaker, and got heavily involved in that world without realizing that it was a cult. Not the same as what requires the drinking of Kool-Aid, though that was a saying, and you could even have had the JMT DNA badge that you wore to show that you're truly a JMT member. I never really got on board with all the propaganda, or paraphernalia rather. However, I understood its appeal to be branded as if you belong to something. I get it. And fortunately, I was able to be an active member while in a relationship with one of the faculty for 4 years, and then a program coordinator with the program for a year and a half after, which I left in 2017 after joining as a founding member in the program in 2011. And basically that program became such a huge part of my identity that leaving it destroyed me, even more than the relationship that I had moved countries for, that ended and started because of that program. It didn't end because of that, but anyway, point is, I don't talk about that so much because I don't like to be disrespectful of sharing other people's story without their permission. And you know, how do you talk about a program that you refer to as a cult when I simply am actually meaning cult is the start of culture. The cult you are part of That's what a cult is. It's just religious connotations have changed the way that we are willing to see the wordplay that have been casting spells on us. Hence in the Bible, the Go spell book is the Gospels. The scriptures are the script you are reading from and therefore trying to adhere to. When the man who you are proclaimedly following, named in the book, was titled in the book, Jesus, was named otherwise while he lived. Right? Oh my God, now I realize, holy shit. You know, when I joined the John Maxwell team, I did it because I had got my English degree at McMaster in 2005 to 9. And then I graduated and I worked at St. Leonard's in London, which is a community service program or company that ultimately helps youth in conflict with the law. And I was a youth group facilitator and case manager. So I had an amazing first job after university because I intended for it, and then I manifested exactly what I intended for. And I even got the job in the town where my mom lives now. So I found the paper at an employment resource center I went to, trying to actually get it. Geordie! How big is this thing?
24 feet.
24 feet. Wow. You're gonna be blown away. This is the third one he's made. This is the third model though of those three, each one uniquely different. And you can actually rent one of the other two on Airbnb. So I'm so proud of him and he's doing amazing. And I am excited to be able to be part of it, and I do need to make this quick because my paint is drying. But the shtick as to why I started this in the first place today was to say that I have been going through my ups and downs trying to figure out how to share the message that is on my heart so much to share. And I was saying to Geordie earlier about a friend that actually shared with me she'd seen the video when I was locked up running on the treadmill and basically calling people to take their power back from those who wish to diagnose us and diagnosis using the host of someone else's gnosis to make you the conduit through which ghosts are able to actually come to life. Ghosts being entities which are thought forms that accrued energy because we gave it ours and didn't realize that was how the corporate entities have become so powerful in this realm. Where God has become a trigger point that makes us shut down our nervous system to new information because it's different from what we're familiar with and it makes us feel unsafe and we don't know how to argue it because it's all BS anyway, belief systems. And so, with that in mind, now I say it is time for us to see the gods of this reality are the grand overall designers, the granters of design, or dominion, or domain. We have to be the ones that choose the meaning of the signs in order to create the syntax and take out the sin of tax that has been pushed to the max by politicians who wear the suit and then take them off at night in order to pay for the life they live with the ones they love. And I've been listening to O Economicus by Xenophon, which he was a student and friend and mentee of Socrates, proclaimedly. And basically, O Economicus is about household management, and I said to Geordie earlier that O Economicus has really opened my eyes to how I have been so focused on making it and my own thing and not having a desire specifically to be married as such, for the real thing is more my deal anyway. But O Economicus, being household management, helped me realize that we have been so focused on business and entities and corporations that want to orate what the corpse says on our behalf and impose its will onto us for us to sacrifice in the name of the grantor of domain at the expense of the grantor of dominion that gave us dominion to create instead of react. These are the realizations that I, in fact, came to as I have in the last few months realized how impractical I have been thinking the head and the videos that I just post 1,000+ of on my channel and then keep on trying to write more stuff that people are not interested in reading so much because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I know these things, and yet I've not really known what to do with it all. And then I finally realized while painting this wall that what needs to happen, the way that I actually make everything that I've done so far valid, is to make my own dream happen, which is to create a documentary using my own story, but bringing then in the testimony of friends I've met along the way who had something to say about the experience along the way. And not bringing in people that don't want to be included, but to own it to some of my family and loved ones that I could have definitely done better, and I'm sorry that I didn't. 34. 1, 2, 3, 4, onwards we go. What more can I say than it was really shitty that I try to protect people's anonymity, and then we gotta go.
Hey, Laura J. here at Waterfall 1 in Hamilton at St. Joseph's Healthcare Center in the Mood Disorders Program, where I am here because I self-admitted myself so that I could help my family understand that it's not actually abnormal, unnatural rather, to wake up happy and spend most of the day happy. It's just abnormal. And the difference between unnatural and abnormal is that unnatural is how things are not actually meant to be, whereas abnormal just means it's not what we're used to. It's not the normalized behavior, and therefore we don't understand it. We try to put what is natural into the box of what is normal, and unfortunately, most of the time, when we try to move ourselves faster than what is actually called for, I hit the speed button, and instead of actually getting to go faster, it slowed me down entirely. Come on, baby, let's go. I don't know what's going on. Oh, God. Okay, stop. Break out pause. Break out set age. Who cares about my age? Other than to say that in 2 days, I turn 32 years old. All I would really like to do right now is just run. I want to go fast. I want to go faster than what I am currently being allowed to go. And I've got to slow down because I slowed myself down in order to fit in with people that don't understand me. Okay, now we're back in business. Finally, we are back in business. And it's going to take going a bit slower at first. Oh, and now I'm going to be going faster, maybe than what I even would have adjusted myself to go in the first place. Okay, so the difference between unnatural and abnormal are simply how comfortable we are with the very thing that we feel is in question. And right now, the reason that I'm actually here in this place in the first place, which is literally at a psychiatric hospital in a mood disorders program, is simply because I wanted approval from my family. I wanted to prove to them that it's crazy.
It's simply another word for different. And yes, I may be different, but I am not insane. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I am not insane. I, in fact, am quite the opposite of insanity. I have not been trying to do things the same way, which is exactly the reason that I became a threat to the family unit, but most importantly to the hearts of those in that family that love me and want to keep me safe. Because I started traveling and experiencing the world. I left the comfort zone of the known in order to go find myself and the people that believed in me and that understood that it's not abnormal to wake up happy and be happy a lot, or to only really come down when we get ourselves around fearful people. That is actually a very natural thing if we're willing to put ourselves and hold ourselves in those kinds of environments. But because after being in that space, I went back to the comfort zone of my homelands, the people that had me and that have kept me safe for nearly 32 years, kept me alive, worried about me. And now I feel like I'm safe in this space where other people and I are being told how to be ourselves by medicating ourselves, by putting veils over top of who we truly are, simply to make the rest of the world feel comfortable. That is insane in my mind. And it's devastating to realize that you, that I, am the only one of me or you that there ever has or ever will be. And to think with some doctor that yes, they spent 8, 10, 12 more years, whatever, that they spent all that time studying the human body to know what medications would go best with each other in order to help us regulate our moods. It's insane in my mind and in my heart more specifically to think that somebody who had studied just the body would better know how to live in mind than I would. Because what I have figured out in my time while being here is that I no longer am able to look to my parents or my grandparents or my nephews or aunts and uncles, cousins, great relatives, anyone who has loved me, even friends, boyfriends, anybody that has ever loved me. No longer am I actually able to, with a true heart, ask them what is meant to be best for me. And right now, I'm on lorazepam and repressitol. Actually, that's just the Simpsons joking name for resveratrol. I believe it's called, of which both I am on. One is an antipsychotic, and the other one is supposed to help me with my sleep. I, on my own, do not need any assistance with sleep. I fall asleep on a dime because I spend my energy, I run high, I fly like a hummingbird until it's time for me to go night-night. And then when I hit my head on that pillow, all used up from the day, I'm out and I'm good. And I wake up and I'm happy again. Unless I'm in a whole bunch of fear, unless I'm looking to other people to tell me how I'm supposed to feel. to tell me how good I need to be in order to be deemed worthy to be in this world. What I finally have figured out, what took me nearly 32 years to finally understand, is they'll never be able to give me what only I can give myself. And that is the vote of approval, to know that I am the only authority over this sovereign kingdom, over this sovereign vessel that is me. I am the only one, Laura J., there ever has or will be. And you, my friend, who is watching this, can insert your name in the place of where I put mine. And know that yes, you're the only you there ever has or will be too. And if you are willing to stop putting your power in the hands of an authority figure who read a lot of books and sure has seen a lot of patients, because all of us, when we don't know what to do with this crazy microcosm of a universe called us, we run to the ones that we're told can give us the answers that actually can only come from within. And so here we are, still in the same place as where this message started, except it is with the reminder. It is with the reminder that you are the only you that will know what to do with you when you feel like you're going insane. And if you feel like you are indeed going over the edge, that you are actually going mad, that you are so high that the world doesn't know how to deal or heal with you in it, do not fear, because all that has happened, my friend, is you are coming home to yourself. You are stepping firmly into the soul throne of your inner kingdom, where the inner child that has ruled your realms up until now, it is able to finally be put out to play by the proud queen and kind king father, who, when you finally accept that they are the ones who are truly the authority figures of your inner realms, when you welcome them down from the ivory tower where we were told to put them to keep them safe when we were but just children watching Disney play out the victim drama triangle, with the victim looking up at the rescuer and the punisher to save it from them and ultimately ourselves, who are cyclically going around beating ourselves up for always knowing the bad things that we have done. Instead of playing out that cycle any longer, it is time for us all to pull up our big girl and boy panties and to say, you know what? My inner child has sat for long enough on the soul throne of my inner realms. And now I demand, I hereby declare that my inner queen and kind king, who love each other so much, they are willing to merge and unite for my highest good. I welcome and invite them down from where they were banished, because I did not know how to retrieve them, and now I do. I welcome them down, and I watch them walk across the courtyard, across the cave yard, across the battleground. Whatever stands between me and it, I welcome them down. And as they approach the soul throne room of my heart, where I hereby declare they shall herein be the sovereign rulers of these internal lands, which no one else as reign or authority over here in this moment as they approach my soul throne. I make room by inviting my inner child, the little Laura Woadini, who was 4 years old and didn't know how to look after herself. I wanted a mommy and daddy to do it for her, and they so kindly did. Except she didn't know when to say enough is enough. And these two, my queen and my king, they do. And they now say, slow down, baby girl. It is time for you to let the ones who are meant to rule do. It is time for us to slow down enough for us to welcome him and her into the soul throne of our inner kingdom. And in doing so, we do not judge that little girl or little boy that was sat on the soul throne for all these years, because you are me and I am you. And what I say about me, I say about you. And so when they approach her, they say, baby girl, it's time for you to go play. Where do you want to go today? Louise Hay, one of the pioneers of the You Can Heal Your Life movement. She said, before you go to work, you put your inner child out to play for the day. And I say to you now, as you welcome your empowered selves, that being both the masculine and feminine, to merge and marry and enjoy one another in the union of all unions, that is what you are welcoming onto the soul throne where previously a scared little child sat. And as you watch them, as I feel them take the throne of my inner realms, knowing never again will I ask mommy or daddy or a doctor to tell me how to be the best me possible, as I welcome them firmly onto the soul throne seats that they were destined to reign. I invite you to salute me in saluting you for having the courage to take your power back. I invite you to salute me for saluting you and saying, no, I do know best. Even though I don't know for sure because I've never done it before, I know that I have my best and highest good at heart. And when we know that, and when we are willing to live that, my God, do we become powerful. Feel that. Feel that and uncord yourself from all of the stories that got wrapped around your water bottle. The metaphoric styrofoam cup that says Laura has a heart, and Laura chooses to lead with it. I choose to lead with heart. I choose to lead with love. And I encourage you to let the false evidence appearing real that has appeared in your life as fear, I invite you to let it go so that you can finally be all that you were made to be. There's never been another you. And there has never been another me neither. And if we are willing to come together in that understanding of our own greatness and let the sweat come, because yes, it will be scary. Yes, it will take breaking through some barriers. Yes, it will take stopping and restarting. Yes, it will take all of that. And there will be frustration in it, just as you saw me get frustrated when this thing stopped and didn't work the way that I wanted it to, just as according to those who are witnessing me in my emergence into the fullness of who I truly am, Just as they said, why is she doing this? Stop, go, ah. They don't understand. Who could? There's never been another me. There's never been another you neither. And what I know for sure is that there will never be another one of either us. There will never be another one of either of us either. It is time for us to step up and be all that we are truly called to be. And that is going to be determined by what we feel most called toward in this life. I hope this message serves you in reawakening to the beauty of all that you truly are. I hope that this reminds you of how great you truly are, and to also know there will be consequences for choosing to stand up and stand strong and stand true and be proud of who you truly are. And what I know for sure, as I said to a captain that I met when I was in Arizona staying at the Hilton Embassy Suites, who ended up being part of a conference in my suite that led to a mediation that was powerful. I'll share another time. What he said to me after hours of me being me, but standing in my glory, not because I was trying to, but because I was willing to hold the space in between us for a process to unfold that offered healing for those who stayed in the room and for those that didn't. What he said to me is, Laura, why? Why not just stop? Just stop, just stop. You don't have to do this. Why do you need to keep doing this? Just stop, is what he said to me so many times, because he could see how true it was that was what happening, and it made no sense because I wasn't thinking about any of it. I was just only acting from my heart. And it scared him because you cannot explain what comes from the heart. And that was terrifying to him. And he said, Laura, just stop. Just stop already. Just stop. And I said, I can't. And he said, yes, you can. Just stop. And I said, if I stop, what would be the point of living? And he said, just stop. And I don't know how to stop. I can stop running, yes. And I have stopped running from myself. And in that process, I fell so madly, deeply in love with myself that I'm willing to put it all on the line and offer you the opportunity to do the same by following in the example that led me to a freaking crazy house where I met amazing people. And I have been able to connect with people who are true and who are real and that think they're crazy because others have told them so. What I want to say to each and every single one of us who are here, who are there, and everywhere in between, we are beautiful beyond measure. There is nothing wrong with us. It's just we're so right on point when we actually follow our heart. It's terrifying. And if that is truly the case, which I truly in my heart of hearts believe it is, then I hope that you are terrified of the power and potential and possibility that lies dormant within you until you choose to take action. And with that, my friends, I bid you adieu. And I hope that you'll share this message with somebody that needs to remember, that needs to become a member of their own greatness again, who needs to be reminded of the fact that no one else can play them better than they can, because no one else has come here to be so brave as to play the character that has never existed until now. You are that brave character too, my friend. And if you've received value from this, please share this message and realize that I do not look as glorious and gorgeous as what I could if I had makeup on or my hair done, or I'd done some things to pretty myself up. But I don't care. I really don't give two flying Fs. And I say Fs instead of the real thing because I want this message to be digestible and accessible to people that need to hear it, which are our youth above all. Dear God, you guys, you are so powerful, and our future depends on you awakening to the power within yourself. You can dream of being an astronaut, or a teacher, or a fireman, or a policeman, or some kind of teacher that gets all kinds of accolades and wins Nobel Prizes and all of those great titles and everything that goes into the definition of success by modern definition. You can desire to do and be all of those things if it's in your heart to truly want to. But what I also implore you to understand is that wanting to just be a mom or a dad or a good neighbor or a good son or daughter or somebody that volunteers in their community as part of a religious group that doesn't judge or discriminate against others who put God in a different box than you, that too is more than enough. That too is exactly what it will take to change this world. And that you can do from wherever you are, however old you are. You have everything you need already to do exactly that which your heart calls for you to. So believe in yourself, and anything will be possible. Share this message, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, Laura J. Namaste. The light in me honors the light in you. Thank you for your time, because you are the equivalent of how you invest your time, energy, effort, attention, and money. And those team players, baby, are all you got at the end of the day, minus the money, because it goes and it comes, because it's just energy. So all of it is just energy, including you. And if everything is energy, including you, realize that you were born as enough, you will die as enough, and the only time that you may not feel enough is when you forget how powerful you inherently are. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Laura J. Namaste.
Wow. So that was 4 years ago. Around this time, just under. It was 2 days before my birthday, and right now it's more than that. So I published my book, Fully Committed, The Sacred Sojourn of Now, in June 2022. It is now September 30th, 2023. And the Busy Teacher's book I picked up from the dollar store that lays out different class plans and trips and organizing. I want to actually break down O Economicus by Xenophon, because it's about household management and husbandry of resources. And so basically, if you know how to manage your own household, you're not going to be so dependent on someone to do it for you because you don't understand it and get overwhelmed by it. And then everything feels too much when it's just one aspect that's overwhelming everything. So I am going to create a Busy Teacher's book of my own equivalent within the Fully Committed terrain. So essentially, it's going to be the companion manual to the book that rewrote me before the world got to see it. And what you don't get to see in there, but that I wrote somewhere and held on to it years ago, is to get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. When God takes something from your grasp, He's not punishing you, but merely opening your hands to receive something better. The will of God will never take you where the grace of God will not protect you. Which God are we referring to? Is the question we must ask. Is it the grantor of dominion or the grantor of domain? To change the world, we need to see how many worlds and realities we are actually moving in between. To be fully committed to being real is to heal through the emotions. And my friend Laura Marcos has a children's book about riding the waves of emotion that I'm excited to do an interview podcast with, and do it in relation to the high rise of emotional awareness in Fully Committed. There is also the active choice point theory that I learned when I worked at St. Leonard's in London back in 2010, 11 for a contract, a maternity contract I got to cover for, which was an amazing opportunity. And then my experience with the John Maxwell team kicked off, and that occupied the next 6 years of my life, which is crazy and awesome and all of it. So your copy will not have this heart. I keep that there just so I know this is my copy. I flip to the page where I talk about the DMT ceremonies, when the pain and fear of all I was facing became too much for me to handle, but I knew I chose it, so needed to face it. I remember the comfort I experienced by repeatedly saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, in different ways and tones, until my own voice became comforting to me in the way I'd always looked to others to do for me. When I first heard Jane Nightbird Mazursky's song, It's Okay, I remember crying at the gift her beautiful song was able to give the world before she left, before her 32nd birthday, which I celebrated as a prisoner during that insane experience. Life is always happening in the moment, yet we all have different capacities and abilities to process information for how it resonates for us. And by trying to share alternative and ungrounded perspective others couldn't relate to or receive, it was draining, confusing, and ineffective for all involved. But I learned from it and hope my sharing of this experience helps others do better than I did then, when I didn't understand what was happening within me, and others didn't either. That was from page 106 of Fully Committed by yours truly, and got lots to get to. So now that you've seen my Lulu Bin video, you can see a few more of the entries I've made along the way when I was doing my best to uplift, inspire, and empower, as I always do. So I hope that's what this did to you today. And should have moved my pizza box from last night. I love the pepperoni stuffed crust. Gotta be stuffed crust. But yeah, guilty pleasure that I don't feel guilty about. Yeah. So
Hey, 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 Laura J here with my man, Geordie Lishmn today, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to share with you the origins of sickness. So, Geordie, take it away.
Well, this is from a German New Medicine perspective. And, sicknesses are pretty mysterious as to where they come from. Like cancers are all said to be some kind of strange anomalous mutation that just randomly happens to people. But this kind of new idea of how sicknesses come gives us a whole new look on it. Same thing with viruses. Viruses are, so small and impossible to know whether they're coming or going. We question whether viruses are actually viruses, because what determines it to be a virus is that it's transferable. We do know there are small parts of the biome that are as small as viruses, but whether they're, going back and forth between people, we don't really know that. And the reason that this is all been thrown in question in my mind, because when I first started learning German medicine and I found out that viruses, they didn't consider them necessarily real, I was like, what are you guys talking about? There's so much scientific... But, when you look up a virus, you'll only find images of 3D animations of them, and because they're so small, it's basically, I think a couple people in the world have claimed to have found a coronavirus, but we really don't know. You can do a PCR test, which is a whole different thing. We won't get into that. But yeah, so sicknesses. Generally, you can get sick from being poisoned. And there is a couple different kinds of poisoning. You can get, if you drink a shot of bleach, you're going to get really sick. But if you also get exposed to too much radiation, you can get really sick. Also, you can get a bacterial overload, like if you go to a new country and you drink a bunch of their water and it's got different kinds of bacteria, your leukocytes used to, you'll get really sick. Then there is, malnutrition. Malnutrition can get you sick. If you don't have the right nutrients for a long enough time, your body will stress. Now, it takes longer, but it will do it. You can also get physically injured, and that can lead to certain illnesses. But other than that, we consider all sicknesses really stemming from psychological imbalances. So traumas.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get traumatized, your body goes into a special biological program, which is what we call it. And that special biological program is there to try to protect your life. So if you look at all of the organs, they all have a particular purpose to help you live. That's why we have them. And there's three major jobs. There's consumption of air, water, and food, and that's the most primordial brain, the oldest brain. And then second from there would be mating and reproduction. And it's thought that early in our development as creatures, we had just those two. We had the ability to reproduce and the ability to eat, and that was enough to make life go around. But then, we started to bump into new organisms because we spread and new challenges, so we developed the last and the new part of the brain, which is called safety and protection, which is essentially your skin and your bones, a lot of them, and your muscles, and not the old muscles like peristalsis muscles, but the new muscles, which are striated and get us around and do those things. So that's why the German medicine is a very different way of looking at these illnesses. So what happens is when you get traumatized, that organ does its job by either going into accelerated mitosis, or it goes into, if it's the new brain, it deteriorates. But when it goes into accelerated mitosis, it's trying to do the job better. And that's generally your digestive organs do that. So you're producing more digestive fluids, or you're digesting harder. But once it's done, then you have a healing phase. So the healing phase essentially will help deteriorate that extra growth by inducing a bacteria, microbe, or a fungus. Now the active phase, so when you have a conflict, you go into the active phase, especially with the old brain, and you'll start to develop extra cells that aren't being shut off. That lasts for a really long time. This will, these extra cells have nowhere to go, and they'll get pushed into tumors. It's essentially what cancer is. Once you resolve it, then a bacteria, microbe, or fungus will come in there to dissolve it, and at the peak of that, you'll have the epileptoid crisis, which is all, coughing, sneezing, migraines, twitching in the body, all those kinds of expellation type of elements of sickness, where it's trying to clear itself of a mucosation. And that's for the old brain. For the new brain, when you go into a trauma, it starts to dissolve the tissue. And this is to allow more passage of whatever thing needs to happen, or allow more sensitivity. And then once you resolve that, then it'll start to heal itself up by cysting. And that's often where they think cancers of that type come from. There's two kinds of cancers. There's carcinomas, and there's adenocarcinomas. So adenocarcinomas, I believe, are the ones that start as soon as the trauma occurs, and other carcinomas occur after. I may have that switched, but I'll have to look at my book to remember. So the kind of end result of this is that, trauma is one of the major sources of illnesses, far beyond what the medical industry has now recognized, and how important it is that we treat each other with care and, take extra time to not traumatize each other, and to, we can be kind people and still be honest, whereas, being brutally honest sometimes can traumatize people, which can lead to illnesses. So just think about that if you're, need motivation to actually be a kind person.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing this short and sweet but deep video. So This introduction is an opportunity for you who view it to leave your questions, your comments, feedback, and also to ask what you would like to hear next. We did record a video when we were at yours last as well that we wanted to do a shorter intro, which this is. So please give it a like, share it with a friend, and let us go deeper into this series of introducing a new perspective of medicine from a more holistic, which I say to be the whole eye stick perspective and approach to health. So, thank you, Geordie.
Thank you.